Hi, I'm Aaron Garza, and you're listening to Built, a podcast about building your body, your business, and your life. If you're interested in improving your body, your business, and your life, then this is the place to be. I've spent the last 20 years improving physiques, building businesses, and figuring out how to get results fast. Join me and let me give you specific tools you can use to get where you're trying to go. The bottom line is change starts now in any area of your life, and it starts with your decision to make it happen. Welcome to Built. The Built Podcast is brought to you by Pure Line Nutrition. Visit us online at thepureline.com for nutritional supplementation that I personally designed to help you maximize performance. Welcome to Built, Episode 3. I'm your host, Aaron Garza, and this week's podcast is called How Two Entrepreneurs Built a Seven-Figure Business Inside of 15 Months. Now, this podcast is really special to me, guys, because it shows what can be done when you truly get yourself out of the way and you let your passion and your heart drive you. Now, I've known Nathan and Cassie Mansfield for a very long time now, and I've been inspired by their dedication and work ethic to their business-strong physiques. This podcast is full of information that's going to help you, whether you're starting out or somewhat further along in your business life. There's tons of good stuff. So get a pad, get a pen, sit down, take notes, because inside this episode, there are a ton of hidden pathways which will take you to the next level in your entrepreneurial journey. I hope you enjoy this as much as I enjoyed being a part of it. So I am here with Cassie and Nathan Mansfield, the founders of Strong Physiques. And I've known Cassie and Nathan for I've known Nathan for what? How long have we known each other?
Going on 6 years.
6 years. Lots happened since then.
Yeah.
And I've known Cassie, his lovely wife, for about, I guess, a year now, year and a half maybe.
Yeah.
Year and a half.
Year and a half.
So, we're going to jump right into it. These are two guys that I really admire a lot because of some of the things they've done with their business over the last year. And I think that the listeners, you guys out there, will get a lot of really valuable information. There's going to be some good stuff, so you might want to write this down as we go along. But I'm kind of going to let them tell their story because I think a lot of you guys who are listening are probably interested in how somebody can develop a business quickly. And, they've done something that's pretty, unheard of really in business, especially today and with social media and the way things are going right now. So let's just start with this, guys. Tell everybody where you're from, how y'all met, kind of give us a little background on that stuff.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Ladies first.
Well, thank you. So Nathan and I met back in 2016. I was actually just beginning my fitness journey, and I was starting to grow my social media page, not really sure the direction I wanted to go with it, but was wanting to grow it. I had about 20,000 followers at the time, and he reached out to me. He had Strong Physiques as a business idea, and he reached out to me for an athlete position. Now, Strong Physiques wasn't really developed quite yet. It was more of an idea, and he was establishing the team. So he interviewed me, and we ended up actually just talking about our goals, ambitions. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur myself. I wanted to be in charge of a company, and he was just interviewing me purely to have me as an athlete, and we ended up just...
No, something happened. Was that the night that you drove? Was that?
It was the impulsive night where we were going to go to Vegas, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So what happened there? Tell me about that.
Well, no. So I guess he hired me on as an athlete, and
right.
It was strictly business, and then he fell in love with me out of nowhere.
Of course.
And yeah, he, randomly, impulsively drove up to where I was living. I was living in Fort Collins, Colorado. That's where I'm from.
How far did you drive?
It was like 3.5 hours, but it was also through a blizzard, so it was,
oh my God.
It's quite the journey.
And I had no idea that he was coming to visit me. He was dropping hints, and I was the oblivious one. No idea. I was in the middle of a cardio sesh. I was extremely sweaty, and he just showed up at my gym, at 9 o'clock at night, and we had no idea what to do because we were still in the, okay, is this still business, or... where's this direction going? And we almost impulsively went to Vegas that night because that's who we are, and we're very impulsive people.
Love it.
We'll get into how that helped grow the business.
Now, how did real quick, so let me go back a little bit because I met Nathan. You were stationed overseas, and you were you weren't really in the business yet as far as nutrition and supplements and stuff. You were still kind of like, I guess, creating a plan, because when you got back to Colorado, that's when you opened your first store, right?
Right.
And then that one was strong
American
Athlete.
Athlete. Yep.
And that was in Colorado Springs?
Yes.
Right. And then you were there for what, a year or two before you met Cassie?
About 3 years.
About 3 years.
So I built the foundation of the business on American Athlete, and then had the idea for Strong Physiquez as my own line, in which I reached out to you for the assistance with that. Got the initial plans developed, and that's the timing of when I met her, which is perfect timing, because it really just everything flourished from that point. Once we met each other, the businesses just really took off.
Yeah.
And we made it into our own. I mean, Strong Physiquez was a completely different idea before we met one another, and we transformed it into our own thing and exactly what we wanted out of it, and it just became this really beautiful vision that we were able to build together.
So initially, though, Strong Physiquez was just, and this is, guys listening, this is Strong Physiquez is their company. I'd call it more of a lifestyle brand, because they have not only nutritional supplements, but clothing and workout programs and all this other stuff. But it was more geared just toward clothing in the beginning, right? That was how you guys met, and then y'all evolved it to the next step.
The idea was to be a supplement company, so I was but I knew that I had to brand the company. So we started doing some apparel, and I was going to do that. My One Energy BCA was going to be my starting, and build a foundation upon that. But we ended up going fully towards apparel for almost a year before we jumped back into the supplementation.
Got it. And that's where you were doing like the modeling and stuff like that, right?
Correct. Yes. So we originally started out as a supplement line. It actually was going to be pretty much geared towards men in the beginning. It was basically all male demographic is the initial approach that he wanted to go with it. And just through doing a lot of research and seeing what was kind of hyping up in the world is when we started converting it to more apparel. And I started growing more as my own personal business with training plans, with diet plans, doing things along those lines. And we kind of merged everything at that point. And
now let's kind of set a little bit of context here for everybody. So, okay, you found Cassie. The store was doing okay. Wasn't, where you wanted to be, but you brought the supplement component in with Strong Physiquez, started doing real good. You brought the clothing in, and then you had some issues with some partners, let's say, where, you guys were out of town, and you kind of got, in a position where you had a really big challenge, basically, and you had to make some decisions. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so everything kind of, as you ask anybody that's been semi-successful or successful in business, everything will crumble on you at once, as I'm sure you've experienced. And that's really what happened. I was going out to weapons school in Las Vegas, and
real quick, for anybody who doesn't know, throughout this whole thing, Nathan's still full-time military. He's working, 10, 12 hours a day still. So just kind of keep that in mind.
So yeah, we're out in Las Vegas. We packed up all our stuff, moved to Las Vegas, left the store behind with a manager, and virtually the manager ran the place on the ground as we were there. So really we had to luckily, timing made sense to move back. I dropped out of the school. Everything kind of worked out. We came back, and
I'll say there, to get more in detail on that, when we were in Las Vegas, when we realized the store was going down, we had $11 in the bank account. There was 11.
And just for a little perspective, when was this exactly?
This was July of 2016.
Okay.
There was $11 in the bank account, and the store was basically about to shut down, and we were multiple states away. So we were at a point where we had to think fast, and we had to think on our feet and figure out what to do. And within 48 hours, we made the decision to move back to Colorado, get out of our lease, out of our apartment, attempt to find a new place to live, and we made the decision to completely shut down the previous business of American Athlete, do a going out of business sale, and completely redo the whole store and rename it Strong Physiquez Nutrition and have it be our own full thing. So within 48 hours, we had our old apartment packed up. We're driving out to Colorado, had no place to live. We were sleeping in front of the store in Nathan's car because we had nowhere to live. and we were working the store, keeping it open full time from 10 to 6, and from 6 to 2, 3 in the morning, we're completely repainting, finding new supplements to bring in, finding a completely, just redoing everything to make it our own thing. And this was using all of our own personal money because we had $11 in the bank account, and
not only that, we had $11 in the bank account. We also had the Colorado Department of Revenue knocking at the door saying that if you don't pay us $2,500 of back taxes, we're going to shut you down within 30 days. We also had $35,000 to $40,000 in business credit card debt. So we were fully sunk to our chins, about to go underwater.
Every check that he was making was going towards it. Every plan that I was doing was going towards it.
Okay, so pause right here. This is something I really want to this is what interests me. What's your mindset through this when most people would be like, dude, that's it, I'm done, I give up, or you know what, screw this, I can't go forward. What was the mindset? Was it just like not thinking, we're just going to do this, we're just 100% screw it, we're going to put everything into it? Was there, any kind of like doubt in your mind or feeling of, what, this is I don't know. What was your mindset?
I'll be honest, I had zero doubt. And that's just because that's the kind of mentality that I carry.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what happens to me in life. I'm gonna find a way through it. And I think that grit and determination really, for both of us, is really how we pulled out of that. Because I will not lose. I will not fail. And if I do, I'm gonna bounce back from it. But I think really we dug deep and we just took it day by day. It was
in my mind. I was 21 years old at the time. I had no college experience, no college degree. I had my high school diploma, and I had everybody telling me that I was going to fail. And so having everybody tell me you're going to fail without a college degree, oh, this business thing that you're trying to do, you're going to fail doing this, is what made me want to say, you know what, I understand that we might be going towards rock bottom, but that's going to motivate me even more to push out of this. And that's going to, everybody telling me that we can't do this, we can't get out of this. Yeah, right, can you make a business go from the ground up that quick? It made us want to prove everybody wrong, and having people telling us you can't do this makes you want to push even harder to say, you know what, I did it and I excelled at it.
It just fascinates me because I was talking to my wife about this the other day, and I said, I've been through business failures, and I've been through all of that stuff, and it's funny, it's like as soon as that happens, you're already thinking about the next thing. You're not even going through it. You're just kind of saying, you know what? Fuck it, man. I'm going forward. I'm going to kick this ass, and I'm just going to figure out what I'm going to do next. And it kind of, if you linger in that place, it brings you down. You just have to kind of keep yourself present, like you said, just the next step forward. So that's fascinating. So you guys were just kind of like, balls out. We're going to do this. This is it. We're not even going to think twice, and we're just going to make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we did. And I don't want this to go unsaid, but if anybody on this podcast probably does not know, but Aaron has been my business mentor for the last 6 years. And every time I run into a problem, he's the guy I call. So just so you know, it's cool doing this podcast with him because I've learned so much from him that he's the reason that we've pulled out of a lot of these things because he's been through these experiences and he's been able to help me get through it.
Yeah, you know what? But you can't teach that certain drive. That's just something that you either people have it or they don't. And I think that's one of the things right now. There's a big problem with people wanting to be entrepreneurs. It's like everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but they don't want to do the work. And it's just like they see the successes. We were talking about that earlier. They see Instagram and all these people are just making all this money and doing all this. But dude, there's some freaking valleys in there, man, and it's hard to get out of that. And if people don't know and just don't have the mental discipline to do it, and we'll talk about that a little bit in the coming minutes, but I think you guys both had that. That's just something it's internal, man. It's just a drive.
And it comes down to passion too. I think is the biggest thing is when you're passionate about something, especially owning a business, that things are going to put you down, but that passion is going to make you want to succeed. It's having those 18, 20-hour work days is what makes you want to succeed. And there is highlight reels all over Instagram, and everyone says, oh, they just, they have this business and it's successful. But it's so much hours, so many missed date nights. I mean, there's so many times that as a husband and wife and business partners, you are working so much that you don't have date nights because you have to get stuff done, or you can't go on vacations because you have work to do, or you can't afford them because your money's going into your business. And that just is, being an entrepreneur is the best thing because that passion can drive you through all of those hardships.
And I think even when you are on vacation, I mean, you never turn off. You're always working.
No.
You know, you're always, 100%
Laptop at the
figuring
beach.
out. Yeah, exactly. But I find that if I don't have that, if I'm not doing that, it's almost like I'm not myself. I need to have that. That's a component of me. It's like I'm lost without that. I got to move forward. I've got to do something. We've got to come up with something new. So it's almost part of the entrepreneur, just mindset.
You don't shut off.
Yeah, you don't.
Yep.
So you're at that point, you're in Colorado, you got this, you move back, you're sleeping in front of the store because for right now, you don't have a place yet, but you're determined to make this business work. And it starts slowly creeping out of where it's. I know you had some really cool marketing ideas that you went and you put into action extremely quickly, and then all of a sudden the store starts producing again, right?
Yeah, and this is where Cassie's expertise really, really helped the store because she is, as you know, she's incredible at sales. She's got that natural ability. She knows the psychology of people. So she was able to, just being in the store every day, really that dramatic change just increased every sale. Everything was helping out. Plus our little marketing campaign that she completely put together really just turned everything around pretty quickly. And we still struggled for a few months. We struggled for probably a year, actually, to really dig ourselves out of that rut. But we got a little more comfortable after a few months.
Now, when does the light bulb go off and you realize that, okay, you know what? Cassie had been building this following. She had at the time, you said 20-some thousand?
At 20,000.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that when you went back to the store in Colorado? Or were you at 20,000 on Instagram?
So I started changing my demographic. So I'd say when I started building my Instagram demographic, it wasn't a completely genuine following. So I was, and nothing against girls that do this, it was just more of a sexual-based page. So as I started developing with Nathan and my business and everything, I completely changed my following. So I would drop down and then start building up. So I'd say by the time that we started having the store back up and going, it was maybe around 30,000, but it was a completely different following that I developed at that point. And it was all genuine people that I knew I could help or that, were interested in my life, I guess.
Right.
Well, no, you make a good point because it's like, you see, let me give you an example. So last night or yesterday, Cassie had put on her Facebook or Instagram story that she was going to be doing this podcast. And, within an hour, I had like 100 new followers and I'm like, oh my gosh, her followers really listened to her, number one. But number two, I started going through them and I'm looking at them. And these are real girls that I could almost look at and say, this is a little mini Cassie. I mean, in a lot of ways, they have the same attributes, the same type of family. They're into the same things, so your followers were real. It wasn't like they were, when I say real, not that they were fake, it's just like they represent you.
Yes, and I feel like all of my followers in general are like friends. They're people that I talk to. I talk to DMs, every DM. I try to respond to and talk to people in general, try to help out, try to give out free knowledge. So
here's my question. So you were at 30. Now, correct. I know that eventually, you will now up into the 300,000s, how do you make that leap? How does somebody, or I don't know if it's even possible to do that anymore, but back then, what were you doing that you started acquiring more and more followers so rapidly?
I realized I had to stand out and I had to be different. And I had to start posting from a real basis and I had to show my true self on the internet. I feel like because I was KNC fit at the time. I was a fitness, icon. Everybody looked at me and said I wanted that body. And I was somebody that, I'd post all these highlight reels of me so happy, me looking incredible, me being so positive. But on the other side, I was crying every day. I was fighting a really severe eating disorder. And I was miserable. I hated myself, but I would smile and look a certain way for the photos. And I was like, I realized I don't want to do that anymore. What's the point of building a following if I can't be my true self? So I started posting my real life on Instagram. I started posting, look, this is me sucked in. This is me when I'm not sucked in. This is, today I'm writing a caption like, I'm struggling today. And if you're struggling too, then it's okay. And I started doing stories just talking about my day. And so people would realize that I'm a human being. I'm a real person. I'm not just somebody who post their butt workouts or their abs every day and they have this perfect life and this perfect family and this perfect body and everything is so amazing because I would look at pages like that on Instagram myself and compare myself to those people and it would get me down. And I never wanted to be the type of person that people would look at me, compare themselves, and it would make them feel bad about themselves. So I wanted to be real. I wanted people to be able to relate to me and to be able to make a change, to be able to make an influence. And that's when it really started picking up. And people would tag their friends in a post and be like, look, like this girl isn't what you thought she used to be, or just things like that. And I just wanted to be relatable and be different.
And I think that her being that way caught attention of a lot of the bigger pages with millions of followers. And she would have literally like these pages repost her on their page, and she would gain like 5,000 to 10,000 followers in a day. I mean, it would be crazy, and that really just propelled her. And it's just like it's like the snowball. Once it starts going, it goes. It's crazy.
So between getting reposted almost every other day, certain photos would go extremely viral. I did a body positivity video that got over 1 million views on it. I gained like almost 20,000 followers from that alone within a month, because it just stayed going viral. And people constantly tagging their friends, wanting their friends to read certain captions, and I'd be popping up on the Explore feed. So just basically, like you said, a snowball effect. It would all kind of tie into one another.
I think one thing that I'm really interested in, that I look at your story, to where you were and where you are today, and I think something that really, stands out to me is you weren't thinking about monetizing this following. You weren't thinking about, I'm going to build this $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, business that I'm going to create from all these people. It was more like, look, I'm just going to help people. I'm just going to go out and give them a message. And if they respond to it and it resonates with them, that's great. If it doesn't, no big deal. And, what good will happen, and we'll see what happens from it. And that's really, I think, that amazes me, because I see so many people, I'm buying my following, and I'm spending money on marketing, and I'm spending $5,000 a month just to get more followers, because I know that's going to, in the end, pay off for me 12 months from now when I come out with a product or whatever. But your thought wasn't even there. You weren't like, no, I'm going to sell something at the end or anything like that.
It was all about building quality over quantity. And still to this day, I am that way. I don't want people following me for the wrong reasons, or nor do I want to have fake people following me that I can't relate to. A number is a number. It doesn't have a meaning to me. It's the comments that I receive from women. It's the DMs that I receive from women, or the emails, or knowing like our products helped certain people. It's the helping people is what makes me want to keep going, not the number, not the sales, not the knowing I could get this out of my followers. It's being able to give to them, not get from them. And that's what I love doing. I could drop 300,000 followers today, and I wouldn't care if that 30,000 was genuine that remained,
Now, when did you tie in? I know that, so you're building this following, you're putting out a lot of great, helpful content that really is truly inspiring women, whether they had eating disorders or whatever. And then somewhere along the way, you decide, hey, you know what, I'm going to do some programs or some competitions, or it was something like that, challenges, I think.
Yes.
And that was kind of your first step into like using your platform to help more people, but at the same time to somewhat monetize it a little bit.
Correct. Yes. And a lot of it came down to I was doing a lot of personalized plans beforehand, and I didn't have the time for it. And just Nathan and I talking and realizing how can we help a lot of women more at once and do it all in a big bulk is when we started introducing the challenges. And it's been the best thing we've ever done for multiple reasons.
How did those work exactly, more or less? The challenges, like from I don't know, just give me an idea. I'm a person out there and I see your post.
So we would just put together a plan. She would advertise it like 3 weeks to a month out. We would put together a plan, diet workout plan, and really she would just keep, a couple times a week, she put it out there, hey, $100, you get this, you get all of this, plus you get a chance to win this amount of money at the end. And we've altered the way we've done it every time. It always changes, like the buy-in changes, the level of value you get as far as like customized to you or just generic or just advice. We've always changed it. So, we're always evolving to make it a better product, so that each person gets the level of result they want so long as they put in the work.
And then, so they buy into the program. I'm assuming they register and they pay for the program. And then how are the results? I mean, you have some people that get crazy results.
The results are insane. So I will say, doing a challenge, it does take a lot of commitment. It's 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the challenge that I'm doing at the time, of 100% commitment. And it's a lot of hard work because in order to make, as you know, drastic changes in a 6 to 8 week period, you have to be pushing hard and being on a very strict diet plan. I do a strict diet, but I give a lot of leeway in it at the same time. But it's basically, yeah, I do check-ins with my girls. They get a full meal and workout plan that breaks it down till the day. And I talk to them as much as they want to email me. I talk to them every single day. So if they want to switch up some things in their diet, we'll switch some things up.
So how many people are you looking at a time that would do this?
Depending on the challenge, we've had upwards of 450 girls in a challenge.
So you're working with 450 DMs sometimes?
Yes.
People dinging you like 24/7?
Yep. And
Wow.
it definitely does, with that drastic of a plan, the people decrease over a 6 to 8 week period. So I'd say, you probably keep 40% of the girls by the end of it, which is normal, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's, a lot of people, it's a little bit too much to stick to a plan or whatever. But yeah, we'll have about like 400 girls, and it's me constantly on a computer from 6 a.m. to who knows how late at night helping these girls.
And that's something, that I think is really important, especially for young entrepreneurs out there to listen and understand that, I'm around Cassie and Nathan enough to know that, they're always working, especially somebody whose platform is Instagram and she's talking and DMing people all the time. I mean, your phone is literally connected to you.
Yeah,
and
it is.
That's tough.
It is. It's a lot, and a lot of times I want to just put my phone away and say goodbye to it for a week, but I know that it is my business, just like as somebody has to go to work 9 to 5. I have to, granted, we work well out of the 9 to 5, as you know, as a fellow entrepreneur, but it's glued to me. I try to respond to every single comment that I get on a photo. I try to respond to every single DM. When you have a few hundred DM coming in every hour, or when you have 1,000+ comments on a post, it becomes a lot after a while. And it's a full-time job being on my phone.
How do you, Nathan, deal with that? Because I know that maybe, and this is the cool thing, I mean, obviously you guys are both entrepreneurs, y'all are both, co-founders of the company, y'all work together and, y'all have each other's back. But a lot of people out there, obviously, if their wife was doing this or their girlfriend was doing this, they'd be like, oh, dude, get off your phone. Get off your phone already. I mean, do you just kind of understand it's part of the business?
Yeah, I do, but I also help regulate her so that she's not working around the clock. So, I'll let her know when I'm like, you're just like anybody else. Yeah, you need to be on your phone a lot, but there's also times when you need to shut off.
Right.
Because if not, she'll be answering DMs at 2 a.m. She'll wake up in the middle of the night, see her phone, she'll start answering DMs, and so I have to let her know, like, hey, sometimes you got to take a break. You got to set your own hours and talk to people on your terms. You still want to help everybody, but you got to set your own terms sometimes, and you can't be working, from the time you wake up till midnight, constantly answering DMs. You have to give yourself that mental break as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you get an email from an angry customer or something. It's not a huge deal, but it's like, oh, I got to deal with this right now.
Yes.
It's like I got to put this away, but it's like it's 2 a.m. Get over it.
Yes.
And I get it completely.
Yeah, sometimes, he goes to bed really early because he has to wake up at 4 a.m. for military. And I'm like, 10 to 1 in the morning, let's get on the phone and answer some.
So the challenges were a big component in helping you get to where you are today,
Yes.
because you're talking about, now some of those challenges we're doing, I want to say like, 60,000 or something, and just the beginning. I think that's a number you quote. I don't remember exactly, but
yes.
I know it was a pretty good amount of money, like just in the first few challenges you did. And that was kind of your stepping stone, I guess, to realize that, hey, we've got a platform here that can be monetized in a good way. We're helping people still. We're not, being scammers out there and trying to screw people over, but at the same time, we've got something of value here.
Exactly.
Right,
And that's when I think the first challenge I did, it was more of an idea, and I just want to put this out there. Nathan and I, at this time, were doing every single thing by ourselves, which we still do. I'd say 90% of everything by ourselves, but we were doing every single thing from orders to running the store to learning how to make an ebook, learning how to do graphic design, figuring out how to do all of this. So a lot of time was going into it, and then we did our first challenge. I think we made maybe $8,000 to $9,000 from it, and that's when I realized this is something.
Yeah, we were pretty blown away from that. Like,
yeah,
by that. We were really shocked that we were like, wow, this, because we had spent so much time working on individual plans, and as well as anybody,
exactly,
the amount of time that goes into coaching people is it takes. I mean, it'll eat up an entire day working on 3 people, and she would sit at home, literally writing plans, customized plans all day, every day, and there was just really not a whole lot of value in that.
Right.
But we got to find a way to influence and help people at a larger scale and utilize time more properly and more resourcefully. And that's really where we kind of vectored into that area.
Wow. So you started scaling up, and then your next one, was a much bigger one, and then the one after that was a much bigger one. And then, so after that, I mean, I guess after about 3 challenges, then you started was that when you started getting into the supplementation world, or was there something else between? I mean, I remember, did the supplements, yeah, you were still in Colorado,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's right. So I guess after the challenges, then came in the supplementation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And how
how did y'all figure that out?
So we figured this out because of we realized that there was some products out there that were really that worked very well, just from working with you, and that were they were
your customers, or your customers, but your followers, were they asking you, hey, look, I need a little extra help. I need to accelerate my progress here?
Yeah. So owning a supplement store, Nathan and I both have so much knowledge when it comes to supplements and what works and what doesn't work, and down to the ingredient and the molecule. And I knew that there was, certain products that I would carry at the store, or certain products that I had. And I would even go on my Instagram story and be like, guys, like, this product works really, really well. Like, you guys should try this. And I would get people DMing me, can you send me an invoice for this? Send me an invoice. And we would do like $3,000 to $4,000 a day in sales for me just talking on my story about a product that wasn't even mine, but something that I believed in. And at that point, we were like, we need to we know what works. We know that there's so many crappy products out there on the market that don't get people results. So why don't we make a product, sell a product that does work, that we know is going to work, and that's going to give people the results that they're looking for. And that's when it all...
So the light bulb went off when you saw that you were talking about something and people were saying, hey, send me one, send me an invoice through my DM. You're like, people are really willing to purchase in this.
Pain.
Yeah, but they're willing to buy.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's just like, I've got to do person by person by person by
Exactly.
person.
Yes.
And we were doing that on a scale of like $1,500 every time she would post about it. And we were like, wow, this is really working. We should try to do something with this.
Jeez. So it was almost like, you were taking clues, you were figuring it out, and you were kind of, putting the plan together, but it wasn't like something that you had a final idea, this is what it's going to come out to. It was just, you were kind of going as going along the road as it came along,
Yes.
and trying to figure it out.
And I'll say with any of the products that we have or that we sell, it's never a thing of just selling something and trying to get money from somebody. It was because we wanted to help people reach their goals. And I knew that we had the capability of doing that.
We found the right product to do that.
Yes.
And that's the thing, though, I think with anything, it's like if you think about the money first, it doesn't come. But if you think about, look, I'm truly going to give as much value and help people in the best way that I can, then the money just kind of follows that,
Correct.
And that's kind of how you guys are doing it. So what was the next step, right? So you know that you're DMing people, they're responding to your little advertisements of this. You're at the store, I guess, and you're talking about, hey, this product really works. Had a customer come in, lost 20 pounds, and then you decide, what ingredients work. You're going to develop a product. What was the next step after that?
A lot of it was trialing out the product, which is now our Thyrexin, and trying it on myself, trying it on Nathan, trying it on basically a test group, because we would never sell something we didn't believe in or something that didn't work. And I'd say that was the getting in touch, which you helped us out a lot, getting through the manufacturer, creating the product, and then testing it, making sure it was working, it was safe, it got the results. And I mean, my results and Nathan's, the first trial, was insane. I mean, I was like, this is magic.
And I think we ran through it 3 times each before we even put it on the market.
Yes.
You wanted to see, does this really work?
And
Yep.
we still have the photos from before and after from all 3 of those cycles of running through it to make sure this is really, really working. And this
no
is
rebound
something that we
after.
want. It's safe, it's effective, it's something that we think can really help, a large group of people bust through those plateaus.
Right. So going back to the business structure, then basically you came and then you created the product, and did you just decide to put it on a website, or was there some kind of how did you evolve into that?
So this is where it gets a little funny, because Strong Physiquez was we had trials and error with a lot of website designers and all kinds of things, So we were always struggling in that arena. A lot of bad people we dealt with, but eventually, yeah, we had a website that we could manage on our own. Once we found Shopify, we figured out kind of how to do everything on our own. It never looked great. It never looked professional, but it fit the job for the time. And we basically got the product, got the label designed, got it up on the website, and really just got it for sale. And I think we had all of our apparel on there, plus the one supplement for a good while before we released anything else.
Yeah, about 2 months.
And you did like a little launch, like you told people that you were going to be selling the product.
Yes.
And that's when I guess you released it on a certain day.
Yeah, so we built up the hype before, which I would show my before and after photos because seriously, with zero change to my diet and exercise routine, I was losing 2 to 3 inches off my waist. Within 72 hours, I was like, that's a jawline. Like, I have a jawline, or I was seeing my clavicle, or just certain things.
And for anybody who doesn't know out there who hasn't tried that product, there's some really key ingredients in it that, I helped Cassie with and Nathan with, and it's phenomenal. If you guys haven't tried it, just if you're looking for something that's going to help you get past your little plateau, it's amazing. So sorry, go ahead.
No worries. Thank you for that. I realized I knew the potential of it, and I was so excited about the product that I would just hype it up, put it on my story. I had testimonials from other people just in the store trying it out, or other people that would trial it, and showing those before and afters just made it pick up. And within 2 weeks of people having the product, I probably had 150 to 200 testimonials of people going, oh my goodness, this product works. I'm down 4 pounds in 3 days. I am down a pant size already. Like, this is insane. I didn't think that something like this could actually exist, type of thing.
And then I know in the beginning, like there was, and it still happens quite often, where you run out of stock, because I know the 3,5 Diodo, the ingredient in that product is very hard to get. And I know you were running out of inventory every time you would launch it.
Yes, we would have a restock, and within, I don't know, a few hours, we would be sold out of like thousands of bottles. I mean,
wow,
instantly, just couldn't even keep up. And remember, at this time, Nathan and I are still doing everything ourselves. So we would be up until 4 a.m. packing orders and just trying to get all these orders out, because it would sell out so quick. And we'd be saying, hey, we need to restock this. How soon can we get more product in? Because we are sold out before we could even blink, pretty much.
That's insane. It's incredible. I mean, especially, let's give me a little perspective of the timeline. When did that start to happen? Because in July of 16 is when you go back to Colorado, right?
Yeah, that's when we were basically bankrupt.
Yeah, that's when you're like $7, we're living out of our car. And then you're in August of, or maybe you're in 2017. What month did this happen?
It was October
of 2017.
So almost a little bit over 14 months later, and you're selling, you do the math, thousands of bottles at, $60 or whatever it is a bottle. I'm not sure how much. $75 a bottle. I mean, it's amazing. That's just crazy. I mean, have you ever thought of that? I mean, it's just, it blows my mind.
Sometimes it's hard to process.
I think we're both still very numb to it. Like, we just don't really pay attention. We do the job. We keep grinding on it. We don't really pay attention to the money. I don't know. It's just another day for us. I don't think it matters if we sell 1,000 bottles in a day or 100,000 bottles in a day. It's just what we do. We're passionate about it, so it's just the same thing.
And that makes sense, because I know, like, since that initial product, you've gone into R&D and you've come up with 4 or 5 other products that are just as phenomenal. So I mean, you never stop. You continue rolling out something new every month practically.
Yes, because with any business, as you know, there's majority of the time there's a huge hype, and then it can drop off. So for anybody listening out here who wants to start their own business, it's good to know that even though something can do amazing in the beginning, you have to keep going forward. You have to come up with new ideas, because if that drops off, you don't want to go hit rock bottom. You have to make sure you have new ideas coming, new products coming. If you're in the apparel business or the supplement business, something new has to always be coming out. So even though we are doing so well and we are, starting to actually make it, like, it was the point where we were going, this is exactly what we have been waiting for, is just that point where we feel like we made it. And we were just like, we just have to keep going. We can't soak this in too much. We have to think of the next thing to do, because this might only last so long. We couldn't look into 6 months in the future and see where we'd be.
And we live like we're gonna fail tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, so that's how I live my day. Like, everything could be gone tomorrow. So how do I continue to operate to keep sales up? And then to caveat what she said is, we spend a lot of time on research and development as well. So we don't want to just go throw out a whole bunch of products that everybody else is pushing out, because that's easy. That's what everybody does, and oversaturate our brand. We want to stick true to our brand and having the quality products that are much different than what anybody else puts out there. And we want to grow slow and develop those products and let it take time to get what people actually need, and not just what the rest of the market's putting out.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's one thing I know about both of you guys, kind of working with you on that project and stuff. I noticed that you wait and listen to what your customers are saying and what they're seeing. And if there's a result that they're not getting, then from there you kind of backtrack and develop a product for that and say, okay, it's not like I'm just going to, let's come up with this. It's like, no, what's going on? How can I help them? What are they experiencing? Let me figure it out and let me bring that to them.
Exactly. And, for example on that, we have it's now called Thermo X Max. It was our original thermogenic-based fat loss product. And I was realizing that it was too potent for a lot of people. And that's when we decided, instead of keep selling this product and say, screw it to the customer, we developed a new product that was going to make our customers happy while equally giving them just as great of results. Instead of, moving forward on something else we want to do, we backtracked to make sure that we had a product that was going to make the customer happy and that was going to provide them results, and not, being too potent for them or too strong for them or anything like that.
Now, here's something I really want to tie in for entrepreneurs and for people who are listening who want to do this, who say, you know what, I want my own business. I want financial freedom. I want to continue to develop as a person. Why aren't people monetizing the way you guys are? I mean, why aren't they utilizing? I mean, there's several people out there, I'm assuming, that have, hundreds of thousands of people that they, have an impact on, but what is it that, makes it unique, and what are they missing that you guys have found? What's in that recipe?
I think they just don't have a clue what they're worth.
Really?
I think that people don't understand that followers in any social media platform has a large value. And people find that in YouTube a lot. They understand, because everybody talks about making money from YouTube views and all that. But people don't understand the monetary value of your followers on Instagram and how to actually turn that. I think you have to have some sort of a business sense to really figure that out, or have someone mentor you that knows how to do that, because otherwise you're just like, well, I've got 500,000 followers. I get, a couple companies will reach out to me and offer me $800 for a post. Well, that's cool. It's an extra few $100s. But really, I think that they don't know the direction. They don't understand, and they don't understand the worth. And
I'd say on top of that, I think a lot of people are scared of the risk. Because there is, with any business, it's going from not having anything and making that leap and making that jump on something that is so scary, because there is that possibility of it might not work. And I think that does scare a lot of people. But taking those risks and, being scared of something and pushing past that is when you become successful. That I truly believe that.
And, I think, again, you in particular, there's so much to be learned from the way you've done it. Because, both of you guys have large followings. But the authenticity that's there with that following is what I always see is kind of a disconnect for most people. I know people who have large followings, but if they tried to help that group of people, or they tried to monetize it in some way, it won't happen. It wouldn't, because the followers aren't connected on such a personal level like they are with you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can actually teach that, or that's something that even is possible unless you're coming from your heart when you're really out there.
Exactly. And again, that goes back to people being scared, and people realize like, oh, they're posting a certain thing. It's just like me in the beginning. I was slowly growing a following from posting half naked photos, and taking the leap to saying, I'm going to completely cut all of that. I'm going to delete all those photos, and I'm going to start posting me and my, boyfriend at the time, or when I got pregnant and I was no longer KNC fit because I had this massive pregnant belly. Like, all of those things are scary, and it is scary to think about having to make that change and having to go against something that is comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like you're almost I was talking to my wife about this last night, and I think Nathan had posted something about it in the last few weeks about people are so concerned about what other people think.
Yes.
And it's so true. I mean, it's kind of like you live based on that, and with your following and with other people, I think you've got to break from that, and just be like, screw it, this is who I am.
Yeah. I mean, if you live your life around what other people are going to think about you, you're not going to make it anywhere, because not everybody will always approve of what you're doing. It'll never be the case. You'll never be able to live for everyone else, because one person's going to want something different than the person standing next to them.
Absolutely.
And I think two more things factor into this, and that is what she talked about is the inherent risk of starting a business, being able to put your own money out there. And the second thing is the work. Is a lot of people don't want to put in the work. They're afraid of, I'm already working a 9 to 5. I'm going to have to go home and sacrifice my time and work from 5 to 1 in the morning, only get maybe 5 hours of sleep and try it again. Like, a lot of people don't have that commitment. They don't have that level of commitment to actually go home and work after they're done with work. Mm-hmm. And that's what it takes to start a business while you're in a profession that's paying you money, is you've got to be able to go home and actually put in more hours
for free.
And that is why it's so important to do what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Because if you're just doing it for the money, you're never going to want to work those extra hours.
And I think that also comes back to that entrepreneurial mindset, where it's just like you keep going no matter what. And again, something that's really important here is, what time do you get up, Nathan?
Between 3:30 and 4.
You're 3:30 and 4. You go to the base. You train soldiers. And then you're out at what time?
3:34. I get home
and then
around 4:30.
That's when your CEO hat turns on and you start working until midnight.
Mm-hmm.
You guys
Flip the switch.
See, that's the kind of stuff that people don't see on Instagram.
Oh, wow, taking care of a 6-month-old. I'd like to add.
But then you got to balance family life with that too, because I can't just go home and work. I've got to be able to spend time with my kids. I got to be able to spend time with my family. And then work in between there. Go in my office, get some things done. Bring my laptop to bed, get some things done. It's just constant. It never ends.
How do you guys balance that? For, let's say, busy entrepreneurs out there that, they're busting their asses. They're out there. They're really trying to make this gig work. They don't want a corporate job. They want to be, their own professional and do their own thing. How do you tell them what do they do to just kind of balance everything out and make sure that, they're still enjoying life? Is there a way, or what have y'all guys found?
I'd say two things. One, you have to mentally know that you're never going to be able to shut off. You have to know that work is always going to be on the back of your mind. If, like we were saying earlier, if you're on vacation, you're still going to do work when you're on vacation. I'd say the biggest thing is time management, scheduling, having a checklist, not just saying, I have so much to do today. Saying, okay, I have a checklist, and when I have a lot of stuff to do, I make it into 3 different lists, and I do a first priority, a second priority, and then things that can wait. And if something can wait 3 or 4 days, I put it away somewhere where I don't even see it. The things that can wait probably until tomorrow, I put it in a separate thing, and I just focus on the main things that has to be done in that day. And I feel like it eases my mind a lot, and it helps keep the stress off. And scheduling and having all of that time management is just so important. Or if you want to go somewhere, saying, okay, we'll do that this weekend of this month at this time.
I also think you have to put your mental game and your physical game first. Mm-hmm. So I spend a lot of time on my mental game and making sure I'm sharp, making sure that I can handle the stress. Because if you can't handle stress, you're never going to make it. You're never going to be able to propel through those challenges in life. And then obviously her and I work out 4 to 5 days a week. So it's also the physical and mental. You've got to take care of those two, or you can't take care of yourself. You can't take care of your business. You can't take care of employees if you're always so stressed and always so down. Because I'll tell you, probably 3 years into business, I would stress myself out so bad I would never sleep. And it affected my life, it affected my family, it affected everything. So you've got to be able to be mentally strong and learn how to build that mental strength so that you can actually continue and be able to work 18 hours a day, 4 hours of sleep, and still be able to get up the next day and do it again. So I think if you're not working on those pillars of mental and physical strength, then it's going to be very difficult for you.
Yeah, it's funny. That's exactly what I was going to ask you guys next, because I know you and I are both real big on self-improvement and reading and studying and stuff, and to fit that all into a working business model that you're still kind of like, I've got all this going, but I still have to step out and work on myself. That is so important, I think, for an entrepreneur. And a lot of them don't realize that. They're just, hey, I'm just going, but you're never going to get further unless you're getting new information and you're reading and, listening to podcasts and all that stuff. What are some of the things that you would recommend for young entrepreneurs out there to do, read, see, hear, listen to? What are some of the things or tools that have helped you that you would say, hey, do this?
My biggest thing would be to find the time where you can listen to YouTube podcasts. Like, I have a 40-minute drive to work every day. I listen to YouTube or podcasts and the entire time. And it's usually things that sharpen my mind. So it's usually things that make me smarter or better at business or better at my physical abilities as well. So use that time with what you would call net time, no extra time, and listen, because you can listen while you're doing anything. While you're walking down the street, while you're driving your car, while you're taking care of your kids, you can listen to something with headphones in almost any activity you do. So that's my biggest thing. And I've found some good mentors out there that really have helped develop me to where I am today, and I still listen to them almost every single day.
And there's so much information out there now. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to sharpen your game up a little bit just by listening.
Well, and I'd say, in today's society with social media, with building a business, with being an entrepreneur, Nathan and I, none of us have a college degree. Neither of us have a college degree. You could start a business so easily without a college degree, and so many people don't think that. They think, I need to have a degree in business. I need to have all of this experience. And you don't. You can listen to podcasts. You can watch YouTube videos. You can read books, and you can Google search, how do I start a business, and find the first 5 steps. And you can literally build a business just by, instead of watching a movie for 2 hours a night, turning on a podcast or reading a book from some of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world and seeing what they did and how you can take from them to create your business. It's all about just making that time, because you can create $1 million business without a college degree. You can avoid student debt and do what you love to do. If you love puppies and you want to open up a certain shelter, you can do that. You don't need to go to college to be able to do that.
What you just said is so powerful, because I think there's a shift happening, and especially with entrepreneurs who are young, and we're starting to realize in a lot of ways. My kid, if I had one, and he said, "Hey, Dad, I don't want to go to college. I want to do X, Y, and Z." Hey, get with a mentor, somebody that can help you grow in that way. I don't necessarily know if I would recommend that they go to college, because I went to college. I got a degree. Do I use any of it? Probably not. It's a pretty expensive piece of paper on my wall. But, with the exception of professionals and people who need those degrees, I agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do now. All the information is there. And I just think that a lot of people don't want to do the work. And at the same time, they just kind of get complacent and lazy. So I totally agree with what you just said. That's huge. It's huge. So kind of just a takeaway real quick. What's the biggest piece of advice you could give someone out there, male or female, who's trying to build a brand through Instagram or any other social media channel out there?
I'd say one of the biggest things, and we didn't get on this too much, we did a little bit, but the people that are around you telling you that you can't do that, or you have to go to college to be successful, or you can't build a business off of the internet, things like that, you need to get rid of toxic people in your life first. I'd say that's number one, because if you have toxic people telling you you can't do something, you're not going to make that leap. Number 2 is making that leap. It's saying, okay, I want to start a business, and putting it down, saying, on this day, I am going to do this step to create my business. Okay, I looked up Google. I need to do this. Okay, on, August, whatever, I'm going in here and I'm doing this. And writing it down and making it visual so that you make that step. Instead of saying, yeah, I'll do this, or yeah, eventually I'll do this, you have to make a point to hold yourself accountable, because accountability is, I think, the biggest thing.
How about you, Nathan?
I agree, but I'm gonna add something to that. So I think that you just have to, once you have the idea in your head, you just have to commit.
Yeah.
I started my first business over a glass of whiskey on a Saturday night, and literally had a name the next day. Mm-hmm. So if all that time you take in there thinking about it and planning and all that stuff is just all the extra time that you're gonna wrap up and not do it. Mm-hmm. So once you got the idea, you got the passion, just go. I mean, go on go on the IRS website. get your EIN, and that's your first start. Yeah. Figure out how to register your business in that state. That's the next start.
Make sure you're coming up with names. Yeah.
And you literally have to commit, because if you never commit, you're just going to think about it. You're going to talk about it. You're going to tell your buddies how that's what you want to do. One day you're going to be this business owner, but likely it's never going to happen.
And then it comes down to what I was saying earlier about making the checklist. Starting a business, you have 1,000 things to do. You need the day that you say, if you turn off this podcast and you say, all right, I want to start a business. I want to be making $1 million a year like these guys. Or I'm 23 years old and I want to be a business owner as well, because I know I get a lot of messages of girls that are probably listening to this that are my age and go, how do I get to where you are? You need to get off this podcast. You need to write down the first things that you need to do, and you need to go home and you need to start doing them. And you need to make your priority checklist. And the next morning, start doing it. And you just need to take those steps and not be afraid of doing it. You just need to do it, because I will guarantee you that if you put in the work 100% and you work past that 9-to-5 comfortability and you put your everything into a business, you will have $1 million business. You will. And I can guarantee that.
It's almost like, and I've always hear this, and I laugh at it because it's so true. It's almost kind of one of these things where it's ready, fire, aim.
Yes.
Just do it. Just get in there and do it. Make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Yeah. It's part of it. You need to make those mistakes so you can learn from it and just keep going. And eventually, you're going to have something. Because let's put this in perspective. 14 months from being in a car in front of your store trying to figure out how that was going to work and 14 months later, you've got $1 million a year business. You've moved to another city. You've got several things down the pipeline. You've got new visions and new goals set for the next few years. So, that just tells you, what's possible when you commit and you just start doing it,
Yeah.
Cass and I have this analogy that's related to housework, okay? So if you get a sink full of dishes and you sit and think about it for 5 minutes, what's going to happen?
Nothing.
You're going to wake up the next morning and that sink's still going to be full of dishes. So if we just say, when we think about something, we just do it. If it's housework, we do it. The more time you take thinking about it and waiting, it's not going to happen.
And I'd say on top of that, you need to set goals. So I remember Nathan and I back in 2016, we sat at a place called Bad Daddy's. It was a burger joint. We're starting to slowly get out of the hole. Our apparel is doing pretty well. We were like, yeah, we might be slowly getting somewhere. We weren't shut down by the government quite yet, so that was good. And I remember we sat down and we go, we want to be successful. Where do we want to be in a year? And we made a 90-day goal, a 6-month goal, and a year goal. And we said in 1 year, we will have a business worth $500,000.
Right on the paper napkin.
Yeah, we're on paper napkin. And we held ourselves every month, said we were going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to get there. And I remember a year later being like, we did it.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's so powerful because, it's happened to me. In my life, I look back, my wife and I both will look back at things that we said we were going to do, and we'll probably forget about them. We have it written somewhere, but we'll come back a year or two later and we're like, dang, not only did we do that, we exceeded those goals. Most of the time you always go further down the line. Mm-hmm. And it's just as simple as sitting down and committing and doing it.
And, even if it sounds silly, 2 years ago, 2016, when we're sleeping in a car because we couldn't really afford a place to live and we had $11 to make account, if I told us we're going to be $1 million business one day, in my mind, that was mind-blowing, but I was like, we're gonna do that. We're gonna make it there.
I think the greater evil is not to think big enough, A lot of times you hit that and you're just like, dang, I should have said 2.5, or I should have said 20. But that's why you can always set new goals. Yep. So what are the new goals coming up for Strong Physiquez in the future? What are your plans with the company? I know you guys just launched an awesome apparel line. Yes. Still reading out new products and stuff like that?
Yes, we have new fall apparel that's in the sampling process right now that we're super excited for. Got some new ideas for some really great supplements that are going to be in the works. We've been asking a lot of you guys, followers, what you guys want to see, and we're taking all of that into consideration. And there's just so many exciting things coming.
Are y'all still doing programs and challenges?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
And the biggest thing for us is we've designed our brand to not be defined by any sort of
thing,
any sort of topic, so we're not a supplement company, we're not an apparel company. We're like you said, a lifestyle brand. Mm-hmm. So the possibilities are endless for us. We're always looking for those new things.
We're a one-stop shop, pretty much.
We literally do everything, and we're going to continue to do that. So But yeah, new supplements for sure. New apparel. Cassie's really got some good stuff coming for the new apparel launch.
So where can people find all of your clothing, products, programs, etc.?
You can find it all on www.strongphysiques.com. That's Physiques with a Z at the end. Or you could just look us up on Instagram. It's Nathan Mansfield or Cassie Mansfield.
Is that your fastest, easiest way to get in touch with y'all? Instagram, DMs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So you guys out there, listen, if you want to talk to them and get info from them, just DM them.
And I'll say probably the best route to get a hold of us is to comment on one of our photos, because we're likely to see that. Especially Cassie, she gets hundreds of DMs a day. If you comment on a photo, she's more likely to see it, I think, especially if you're reaching out, asking a question. Should be more likely, both of us, more likely to respond on a question on an actual photo rather than DM.
Yes.
Awesome. And you guys are in San Antonio now.
Yes.
Loving it here.
Love it.
Yeah, y'all are Texans, huh?
Yes.
Yep.
Enjoying the heat.
You know.
So guys, if you want to reach out to Cassie and Nathan, both, they're great sources of information. They're great inspirations to a lot of you young entrepreneurs out there who may be just starting your journey. And one thing for sure about these two is they're extremely authentic and very willing to help in many ways. I mean, they always give back. So get in touch with them and check out all of their products at strongphysiques.com. Any closing remarks? Anything you want to say?
No, I enjoyed it. This is fun.
I think the biggest things I want to say to everybody is you are worth so much more than you think you are, and you are capable of more than your brain can even comprehend. And everybody, if you have a dream, you're worth that dream, and you're worth that, and you can do it.
That's awesome. Hey guys, thanks for being here. We really appreciate
Thank you.
We'll have you back soon.
Thanks.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed episode 3 of Built. Make sure to leave your comments about this episode on iTunes. I'd really, really appreciate it. And also, please give it a rating. Thanks, guys, and until next time, stay strong and stay inspired.